Hi guys, Calvin Stort, Associate Broker and Team Leader with the Premier Exec Team with RE/MAX Realty Center here to finish off our first time home buyer series. Today, we're finally on step 6. Thank you guys for sticking with me through the last 5 steps, which were step number 5, contract. We negotiated your offer and we got to a contract and we have to follow the contract through to settlement. Step 4 was actually writing the offer. We talked a little bit about what the offer contains and how to get through that offer to agree upon terms with you and the seller in order to make it the contract. Step 3 was all about your home searching. We found some houses that you loved and we went out and we looked at them and you actually decided to write an offer on that and we got you through that. Step 2.5 was our half step. We actually talked about some upfront costs like home inspection and appraisal that you had to deal with by the time you had the offer under contract to the time you actually got to settlement. Step 2, we talked about your payment method, whether you're going to be purchasing this house with cash or you're going to be using a lender to help you finance this property. And step 1 was all about the buyer's consultation. We came, we met, we sat together, and we determined your wants and your needs and how I can help you through that to reach your individual goals. Step 6, which is today, is going to be all about settlement. This is the best part of the whole transaction. The house after settlement will finally become yours. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me directly, 240-472-7453, or you can give me a call on my office phone number at 301-591-3920. So let's dive in, guys. Before we get to settlement, you would have had to be given by your lender a closing disclosure. This closing disclosure is only applicable if you're going to be using financing to purchase your property. This has to be given to you a minimum of 72 hours before settlement in order for us to close on this property. The closing disclosure will have items containing in them, such as your monthly payment method. It's going to outline your principal, your interest, your taxes, and insurance. How much you're exactly going to be paying each month to purchase this home. Okay? So, before we actually sit down at the settlement table, we're going to be doing a final walkthrough. I highly suggest that this is done. The final walkthrough is the last time before you sign all these documents that you get to actually sit down and see your property. You can walk throughout the property, make sure everything's in functional, working condition, make sure it's agreed upon between you and the seller. It looks the exact same way that you guys decided. Make sure all the repairs that the seller decided that he was going to do is actually completed. You don't want to be purchasing something unless it's the exact way that you expected it to be. Okay? So, at settlement, you actually get to sign all the paperwork. Make sure your hand is worked out and all the cramps are gone because you're going to be signing a lot of documents, especially if you're using financing. Not only do you have to sign the selling and closing documents, you're going to actually have to sign all the lender's documents also. I say you can budget about an hour of your time to complete the settlement process. If this is a cash transaction, you don't have to worry about any of the lender paperwork, so you can budget about 20 minutes of your time. If you have questions, the settlement attorney is more than happy to answer them for you so that you understand exactly what you're signing. Okay? After you sign on the paperwork, you get your keys. Once you exchange the money for the property, the seller will turn over the keys to you. Once you have the keys for this house is now yours. I highly suggest once you get the keys the seller gave you, go ahead and change your locks because you don't know how many of those copies are just floating around. You definitely want to make sure that you're the only person that has the individual keys to your property. And after you get those keys, now you can move your stuff in. Some people have their moving truck out front of the settlement company already packed and already good to go into the house. Other people have the transition time between their lease expiring to the time they're actually moving in. Sometimes it's a couple weeks, sometimes it's months or so, but that gives you enough time to actually pack up your stuff, get your stuff over to the new house, and unload your stuff. We would have talked about that throughout the process, what your time frames are, especially in step 1, I would have figured that out. So, you can definitely figure out what's best for you. But once you get those keys and you sign all those documents, the house is now yours. Congratulations, you can move right in. Here's a quick recap. You get the closing disclosure about 72 hours at least before settlement in order to settle on this property. You go through your final walkthrough. As you're going throughout your final walkthrough, you're making through everything's in operable condition. In addition to making all the repairs are completed that the seller agreed upon. You sign all the paperwork at the settlement company, and that's the settlement process. Like I said, if you're using a loan, budget about an hour of your time to sit through and sign those paperwork. You get your keys. Once you've exchanged keys, I suggest you go change those locks. You can just keep them the same way if you want to, but I highly suggest you know that you're the only person who has a copy of these keys to this specific lock. And once you have the keys, you can move all your stuff in. It's moving time. Congratulations. You've gotten through this whole process, and you're good to go. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me, 240-472-7453, or call me in my office, Remax Realty Center, 301-591-3920. The next series that we're about to get into is all about the selling process. This series that we just completed was all about first-time home buyers. Now, it's all about people who are looking to sell their property. If you're looking to sell your property or buy a property, make sure you hit me up. I'll be happy to help. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you soon.